in terms of capital needed to build a unicorn in Central and Eastern Europe, the factor was like, I think 4 times in comparison to what you would need, more than 4 times in comparison to what you would need in the US. I need to check my numbers, but it's probably in this range. So we're more than 4 times more efficient when building successful companies. And at the same time, I'm thinking that exactly what you're talking about could be also our disadvantage, because what we see quite often in our ambition as founders is a glass ceiling. Like we don't even believe ourselves that we can be more successful. Yeah. The more I talk to founders here in the podcast, the more I understand that it is about mindset. It's not about the hard skills. It's not about the resources. It's not about even capital, because all these things, they follow your mindset. Yeah. The capital will follow the founders with the right mindset. The hard skills can be learned because you are so focused and you're so dedicated to what you want to achieve. Talent also, people who you're going to work with, they are inspired if you have the right mindset. So somehow at the core is that. And at the same time, I still cannot comprehend, why don't we believe in ourselves a bit more? How do you spot this sparkle in founders that you invest in? When do you see it? Because this is going to be the game changer in many of the cases. Of course, I mean, there are different factors, like how the team is getting along. You would have also the capability to be operationally excellent. At some point, you have to do your work. But this spark, how do you see it? Is it in the eyes? Do you see it in, I don't know, in different traits when you interview them?
So it has to definitely with confidence. I think confidence breeds self-awareness. And for me, self-awareness is the most important sort of trait, but even milestone in one's life, right? Not only related to entrepreneurs, but I think majority of people in this world, they never are lucky to really realize who they are and what's their mission is, what their calling is, right? And self-awareness is the moment when you're perfectly fine with what you're good at and perfectly fine with what you're not good at, right? And I think our society is just not allowing people, majority of people out there, to actually get this understanding of who they really are and what they should be doing, right? So then when we talk more about self-awareness, I think entrepreneurs typically are on the best way to become self-aware because they have to, right? I mean, there is no one that will give them helping hands, that will do stuff for them. Whereas if you compare it, to the other, industries or rather, career paths. It's kind of given, right? Like it's you jump on this train and then you're given that promotion, you're giving that kind of framework,
you're
right?
guided on a certain trail, yeah.
But then it's very hard to jump out of this train or change this train, right? But even if you change the train, it's typically the very similar one, right?
Yeah.
And then as you get older and as you get more comfortable and you obviously settle more, so you have your family, you have your, your mortgage, and you basically have everything set up for the proper life. That's when it's becoming harder and harder to become self-aware. So that's when also, and we see this, right? Rarely you get the stories where someone 20 years in his career actually now started the company and succeeded, right? There are cases when such people did it, but many times they didn't sustain, right? Because they were already on a path where it was just too hard to continue on that new path. Which then I believe also led or leads to the fact that many of the people never really become self-aware, right? So going back to your question, I think once we see the founder who is actually self-aware, I think it's the good time then to start exploring cooperation.
And if you're just as passionate about innovation as we are, hit subscribe for the Recursive podcast on your YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. We're everywhere.